Two questions this week. Number one, is this the worst Stoke City side since they were relegated in 2018? Plus, should they recall the Wonder Boy at Walsall? We've got Liam, Carl and Alfie to discuss both of those debates. It's 10 minutes of Stoke City chat. It's supposed to be the happiest time of the year. Not if you're a Stoke fan. Welcome to Where Potters Walk. Alfie, welcome back. We've missed you for the last couple of weeks. But the conversation is still the same, pal. Is this the worst Stoke City side in the last 7 years?
I think so. There's no fight or quality about him. You've always got to have one or the other, and we've always had one or the other. But there's just nothing about him at all.
This is the form. It doesn't need me to go through any of this. 17 now played under Paleket, 3 won, 7 drawn, 7 losses, 24 goals against, shots against 284, 17% win ratio. Statistically, Liam, it's the worst the worst start to any Stoke managerial change that's been made. Mark says no words other than that it may well be the worst performance I've ever seen from our team. It's of course referring to Hillsborough. This, I'm afraid, has got relegation written all over it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, he's not wrong. I'm going to disagree with Archie a little bit. With Alfie, sorry, a little bit. I don't think it's one of the worst squads. Michael O'Neill had some horrendous players while he was here. We have got some quality, but they've been managed poorly. They've been run poorly. The club has put a manager in who was never there to succeed with what he's been given. Until he goes, nothing will change. And if he goes, nothing might change. This club is an absolute shambles. And it starts at the top, and nothing's going to change until they grow up and make some actual adult decisions about how they want to run a football team. Because all they do is try and copy and paste other sides, and it just doesn't work. You've got to come up with your own idea and live with that, but they can't. They haven't got a football brain between them.
Adam, welcome to Where Potters Walk. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
We've got you now, yeah. Adam, the question we're asking is this the worst Stoke side since they were relegated? What's your view on that particular debate?
I don't think it's the worst side by any means. I think, Michael O'Neill had a much worse team than this, a lot worse refunds available to him as well. I think it's probably the most inexperienced team that we've got, and I think that is part of the problem. There's no experience that you need at this level in the Championship. We'd be crying out for, as much as Pearson's a walking red card, you'd want him in that midfield right now just to give us that bit of grit and determination. And yeah, to quote, the last one's there. I'm not sure where we go from here. I'm not sure what Paleket wants to do with adding these Spanish and Italian players that he's supposedly looking at for the transfer window. It's a million miles away from what we need right now. It's not even close. We need experienced Championship players in this team.
Okay. Cheers for that, Adam. Carl, if it's not the worst side ever, many people are saying that, well, this is clearly the worst manager we've had since relegation. Geordie says it's impressive that he's been our worst boss since relegation. He's made us worse going forward and defensively. He's made Yunho, Milian, Moran, Berger and Kumas worse. I won't be sad to see him and Walters go. He should have gone last week, but that sums up how Coates and Walters are running the place. Do you disagree with any of that, Carl?
No, I don't disagree with any of that. You look at the Coates family. You had Peter Coates running it in the Premier League days. He seemed to run it really well. Obviously, we were up there in the Premier League, taking on some of the best sides. Since it got passed down to John, I just feel like we've been on a slippery slope. And just because you're good businessmen, you invest money into the club. We've got this light show, what we always talk about. We've got a new fan zone. He's putting money into the training ground. Yeah, it's all good, but it doesn't mean he's running the club well, because it's clearly showing on the pitch, isn't it? I mean, it isn't, as the lads have said, the worst Stoke side that we've had in the Championship, but they just can't make the right decision between them, and the managing of it, the managing of the club is really shambles, and it's got to come from the top, because nothing's ever changing no matter how many players they bring in, how many managers they bring in. there's some proven championship managers we've had as well. Nothing changes, so you've got Luke at the very top.
I feel, thanks, Scott. I feel, Alfie, for the thousands of Stoke fans, and there were in thousands that went to Hillsborough in awful conditions this Saturday. Many of them saying that performance just wasn't good enough. The referee was terrible, of course, for both sides, and you always seem to get bad refs, Stoke. I don't know what's going on with Stoke's luck with referees. Dave says it's getting worse by the week. Other than Pompey at home and the first 15 minutes versus Bristol City, we've been outplayed non-stop under Paleket. We're weak, easy to play against, and offer nothing going forward. We've got no plan. And here's what I want to ask you about, Alfie. We've got no identity on the pitch as well. Do you agree with that last point? There is no identity when you watch Stoke?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if we're a team that look to sit back and hit teams on the break. I don't know if we're a team that want to try and keep them in their own half and press high and win it high up the pitch. It just seems like a real mix every game. I watch us and it's like I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because it just seems when we play out from the back, sometimes we'll let it long towards Tom Cannon, who's never going to win a header. Sometimes we'll play it out from the back. That doesn't work. It ends up out for a goal kick. And then, there's just I don't know what sort of team we are at all.
Okay. There's a proposed solution, Liam, which some fans are saying absolutely not. Do not do it. Other fans are on board with it. I want to get your view on it. So this is from Darren. He's not a Stoke fan, but he writes a lot about League One and EFL football. Stoke are weighing up recalling teenage striker Nathan Lowe from a loan at Walsall. Decision has been made shortly. You've tweeted a lot about this yourself, especially that I think Nathan Lowe has scored something like 8 or 9 goals for Walsall currently, of course, in League Two. What's your take on this one?
He's got to stay there, in my opinion. He's absolutely flying, just full of positivity in a club that's in a positive atmosphere. The league might be a little bit too low for his level, maybe. Possibly, if they were going to do anything, maybe recall him and send him to a League One club to see how he gets on. But there's no reason to bring him back here whatsoever. He's not going to come back here and bang 8 goals in 10 games like he has there. Tom Cannon's an experienced championship striker, and he's scored a few goals for us, and he is struggling. I mean, the way we play, every chance he gets is critical because we don't make that many. So he missed a header and he missed a penalty in the last game. That's the only thing that we created. So we've got another young lad, Emre Tezgel, on the bench now, who at the time when they were both in the club, him and Nathan Lowe, he was supposed to be better of the two. He don't get a sniff now. And when he does, he gets chucked on for 10 minutes and fans expect him to score a worldie, and if he doesn't, then he's the worst thing. So I'm quite critical as a Stoke fan. Some Stoke fans are very critical. If Nathan Lowe comes back and doesn't score one of these first games, they'll be calling for his head, telling him to get back on the bench. So pointless to bring him back, in my opinion.
Okay. You just want him there to keep Port Vale from being promoted, don't you? That's
it, yeah.
Adam, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, definitely. There's no point bringing him back. Keep him where he is. Keep him scoring goals. Keep his confidence high. I agree that he's nowhere near ready for the Championship. Week 2, very different week to the Championship. I'd keep him where he is, especially with the atmosphere around the club now. Bringing a lad in who's going to have 5 or 10 minutes, if that, at the club. He's not going to get ahead of Tom Cannon. So keep him where he is. Keep him scoring goals. Keep his confidence high. And maybe we can take a look at him in the summer and see if he's ready for us next season. Who knows? Looking at where we are right now, we might need him in League One next season. So.
Okay. It's a busy old Christmas period for Stoke. Carl, it starts with Leeds on Boxing Day. You won this fixture last year. Patrick Bamford missed a skied a penalty, which I think is still rising now. Have you got a chance?
No chance. Absolutely no chance. I mean, Leeds are up there, aren't they? Leeds are always scoring lots of goals. They're creating chances. Look at our stats. Look at how many shots we concede in a game. And when you're playing a calibre of Leeds team, their forward line, the midfield, everything, Johansson's in for a busy night, and I don't think he'll be saving many. He'll be picking the ball out the net as good as he is, more than anything else that will be happening on that pitch. it's a fixture that's come at the worst possible time for us because we're lacking in confidence. We've got Paleket who, he hasn't got a clue. He's out of his depth. And we need points, and it's, around this time of year, the table doesn't lie, whereabouts you're going to be. So it's the worst possible time to play Leeds, and Christmas miracles and all that, but I can't even see that happening, to be honest with you.
Some quick ones for you. Alfie, are you in a relegation fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we haven't sacked him after the Wednesday game, so we've left it too late.
Okay. Liam, do you fully expect Paleket to still be in charge by the Leeds game?
Yeah. I think they'd have got rid of him now if they weren't. He should have gone 3 games ago, in my opinion. It's only got worse. 3 games ago, you could see what was happening. It's just, I don't know what they're thinking. I think he's this great white hope for the coach family. All you hear on Radio Stoke is, if you speak to anybody in football, they'll tell you how good he is, how knowledgeable he is. But none of them people have had him as a manager of the club. So he might know a lot about football, but he doesn't know a lot about managing. So it's a big difference in it.
Adam, have you seen 3 worse teams than Stoke so far this year, given that you've played everyone now that's underneath you and around you?
I mean, if you look at the table, all 3 of those relegated, it's 3 clubs who are in the relegation spots at the minute have all got a game in hand over us, and we would be 4th from bottom if they all win their games, not that slightly. I think Pompey and Oxford are probably the 2, even though Oxford beat us, they weren't up to much on the day. They are probably the 2 worst clubs than us, but that 3rd spot between us, between Cardiff, I can see Cardiff starting to pick up some results. I can't see where our next wins come from right now, and we need to make that change fairly soon.
Okay. Listen, as negative as it has been on here for a month, I really appreciate all of you coming on and sharing your woes, especially Liam and Carl that have done this month after month, and Alfie, of course, at the start of the season with us as well. I also want to say thank you to you for watching and sticking with us. We know there's lots of other Stoke content that you can certainly watch and download. We're always grateful for your support as we continue to grow this to one of the largest Stoke City podcasts that's on the internet. And we wish you all a fantastic Christmas, and wishing I say happy Christmas, but there's no such. We use the word happy on this particular podcast for a long time, but have a very enjoyable Christmas, spending it with your friends and family. We'll see you in 7 days' time to look back on 2024 at the highlights of Stoke City's year. I know. Don't laugh. We'll see you in 7 days. Merry Christmas, everyone.